Hey everybody, it's GauntletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today I'll be playing a Planeshifted Streets of New Capenna Premier Draft. This is the first time they're really doing this in a non-alchemy set. They're bringing the set back, but with some adjustments. They're trying to make the set a little more balanced, make some cards that didn't quite get there like Jackhammer a little stronger, and change some things around in general like High Rise Sawjack, now a 1/4 instead of a 2/3. And gets +3/+0 when blocking a flyer, trying to make the set a little less aggressive with some adjustments like this. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know if I want them to keep doing this in the future. I guess it depends on how much it changes, how good the format is now. This is pretty easily going to be a night clubber for me in this pack. This card's great at just clearing out a bunch of 1/1s from your opponent's board or 3/1s and stuff like that. There are a few of those in the format. There are citizen tokens, there are fish tokens, and there are 3/1 creatures like Riveteer's Requisitioner here. So I like Night Clubber a lot, plus you can cycle it off the Blitz ability to draw a card off of it if a 2/2 body is not going to be that relevant for you. So I like that a lot. And then Body Dropper is a great way to go if you're starting in the Blitz direction. The Body Dropper lets you play a really aggressive deck where this card keeps getting bigger and bigger as you blitz your creatures. It's also a way to sacrifice creatures that aren't so useful. So I like Body Dropper a lot, and I'm pretty cool with going with that after Night Clubber. Although Requisitioner or a Grizzly Sigil would also work quite well in that deck, so those would be nice options as well. But yeah, back onto the point of the rebalanced limited formats. I think it's a cool thing to do if they just put them in queues alongside the normal format. But I would like if they do bring back regular Streets of New Capenna drafts now and then as well. We'll see. So now, like, Ready to Rumble now can get around shield counters because it prevents all damage when you cast it. A bunch of little adjustments like that. We'll see how it changes everything. The idea that they were going for was trying to make the set a little slower, so aggressive decks weren't as good, and trying to make the set prioritize 3-colored strategies a little more. Another example in this pack to make the set slower is the Celestial Regulator is now a 1/4 instead of a 2/3, so it just deals less damage. So here for pack 1, pick 3, we have a Girder Goons, which is an incredible black common. One of my favorite cards in the whole set, but we also have a Maestro's Charm, which is a really nice reason to splash a bit of blue in our black-red deck here, or just go full Maestros, because this can be a removal spell if you need it, or it can be card draw, looking at the top 5, putting one of them into your hand. Hard choice between the Goons and the Charm. I think starting with a Body Dropper and just 2 really great aggressive Blitz cards is a pretty good place to be, so I'm going to scoop up the Girder Goons over the Maestro's Charm here. I could see some contention in that pick. I think either pick is pretty solid, but I want to just try to get wildly aggressive. I want to just completely ignore what Wizards is trying to do with this rebalance and stay wildly aggressive. Looks like that's not really going to happen here, pick 4. I mean, Fake Your Own Death is fine. This lets you get into combat with another creature to where your creature would trade off and still keep it on board, get its enter the battlefield or death trigger, and then and get a treasure token out of it as well. So Fake Your Own Death is fine for an aggressive deck. It does work with Blitz as well. You can blitz a creature out and then fake its death. You will draw a card off of it and then keep it on board. So, I mean, Fake Your Own Death is fine here, but we're probably supposed to take a blue card. Echo Inspector, one of the best blue commons, and Out of the Way is really nice interaction, bouncing something and potentially drawing a card. But we're probably supposed to dabble a little in blue, but I'm still going to take Fake Your Own Death, see how hard I can force the Rakdos aggro pile here, and Plasma Jockey is fine in that deck. It's one of the weaker Blitz cards, but it can do some nasty stuff. We do see a pick 5 Discipline Duelist, which is really rough, because this card is phenomenal. This card's completely absurd, and I don't think it generally should go pick 5. This card is stronger than the majority of the rares in the set. So this would be a massive sign that that Brokers is open here, except for the fact that not a single one of our cards makes it into a Brokers deck. Pretty sure I'm still supposed to take it here. It's basically getting past a bomb rare, pick 5. A 2/1 Double Striker just does so much damage. It's really hard to deal any damage to this, and then even if you can, it comes with a shield counter. There are more ways to deal with shield counters than there were before, now that they've rebalanced some of the cards, but still, that has to be a massive sign. And yeah, we're not getting anything great in Rakdos, unfortunately. We do have a Celestial Regulator for blue, white, green. Don't know how good this is as a 1/4 body. It was very good as a 2/3 flyer, but still probably solid as a 1/4. Stimulus Package also, I think, got a buff. I'm not sure where. Oh, now you sack a treasure to get a 1/1 and scry 1. It used to be that you just get a 1/1. Interesting. All of the mana fixing 3-color cards now only cost 1 mana to exile them onto one of your lands to start converting mana. The Ominous Parcel, also better mana fixing, only costs 1 mana to sack it now. But see if we can start going brokers, I guess. Looks like we're getting cut off of red-black, getting cut off of Rakdos a bit. How did this get changed? Deals damage equal to twice the number of creatures you control to target creature planeswalker. Interesting. Interesting. Well, I don't think we're Cabaretti, though. I mean, we're really all over the place. We're either red-black or brokers. I'm just going to take the brokers card here. Brokers Veteran's fine. Dapper Shieldmate is fine. Neither particularly exciting. I guess I'll go with the Shieldmate. I think that blue-white-green has better 2-drops than 4-drops in this format. Like Rafine's Informant is a really good one. If we can pick those up to fill up the 2-drop slot, we'll be a lot happier with that. That being said, now we get another Broker's Veteran. I don't want to double up on Shieldmates right now. We've got that Jockey, which would be fine in the Rakdos deck. Structural Assault doesn't do anything. Social Climber did get an upgrade. It's a 4-2 instead of a 3-2. It's pretty big, 4 power for 3 mana, but still only 2 toughness on a 3 mana card can be pretty bad. Let's stick to just Broker's Veteran for now. Rooftop Nuisance is a great blue card. Tap a creature down and draw a card. You can casualty it as well to do it twice, which is great. High-Rise Sawjack is solid too, but I'm going to go with the Rooftop Nuisance. Buy Your Silence is now an instant. So at instant speed, exile an on-land permanent, give its owner a treasure. We could try that out here, but there is another Rooftop Nuisance, which is just great. And Revelation of Power is pretty good with shield counters and +1/+1 counters. I'll just go for another Rooftop Nuisance. I just know that card is phenomenal. Revel Ruiner got an additional toughness now, a 4 mana 3/2 menace that connives when it enters the battlefield. I mean, Involuntary Employment would be great for the Rakdos deck if we manage to do that. I'll take the Halo Scarab since it'll go into either deck that we're building here, and then same with the Chrome Cat. So we've drafted cards in every single color. The question is whether we become blue-white-green or black-red. So blue-white-green here, brokers. We have not a lot. There's a Sky Scryer, a Slip Out the Back. Don't think Scheming Fence does anything. Not really in limited. But in red-black, there's a Strangle, which is incredible efficient removal, which I think I just take. Celebrity Fencer got a buff. That's actually a pretty big buff on Celebrity Fencer. They made it a 3/3 at the start instead of a 3/2 at the start, so making it so it has enough toughness to not shade down into 2-drops before you start playing more creatures. I actually think that's one of the more significant buffs. Celebrity Fencer should be a pretty solid filler creature now. I never liked it before. I know a lot of people already did, so those people are probably incredibly happy now that it's buffed, but I don't think it was that great. I never even liked putting it in as a filler card before because of that low toughness on the initial investment. Okay, so I took the Strangle there. Seeing if we can get a lot more Rakdos cards here. I think that's a place that I would be happier being, because we got a late Discipline Duelist, but other than that, like some Nuisances and Regulator. And there's a lot of nerfs randomly with a lot of the Brokers cards that make them a lot less desirable on first appearance. There's a Ceremonial Groundbreaker here if we want to try to focus in on green-white citizens, but I think I'd rather just take like a Torch Breath for the Rakdos aggro. Some good lands here as well. I'll take a Torch Breath. Oh, we got a Lagrella, and Lagrella did not get nerfed. Green, white, blue. When Lagrella enters the battlefield, exile any number of other creatures controlled by different players until Lagrella leaves the battlefield. When Lagrella dies, return those cards to the battlefield, and any of our exiled cards come back with counters. Lagrella is basically a 3 mana 2/3 that has a Banishing Light or Prismatic or Leyline Binding attached. Just exiling an opposing threat until she's dead. Gathering Throng didn't get nerfed either. That's cool. I love drafting a lot of Gathering Throngs. Okay. Well, we're brokers. I did try to be Rakdos, but definitely feels like a return to Streets of New Capenna if I'm just getting pushed into brokers every draft because of how strong the colors are. But yeah, here we go. Double Agrello. And this is where we're at. We're at 10 out of 23 playables. We're primarily in white-blue. Green looks like the splash here. But white could be the splash as well. But blue is definitely the core color. We've got a backup agent. Love that card. 2 mana for a 2/2 at worst. And at best, you can put a counter on something where your counter is very important. Like putting that counter onto a flyer, and then having a 1/1 left behind to sacrifice to casualty cards like Rooftop Nuisance to be able to duplicate this, sacrificing a little fodder creature there. Quick Draw Dagger is great if you're getting into combat a lot, and Disdainful Stroke is a solid way to stop some bombs, but like the backup agent here. Big fan. Alright, we have a lot of creatures here. We're kind of looking for some removal, maybe some late game power, primarily. But we've got a lot of time to choose what we want to do here, because we've got a pack and a half still. Probably taking Endless Detour now. Brokers is wide open. This actually isn't that great. There's a common that does almost the same thing as this. The fact that your opponent gets to choose if they put it on top or bottom means it's not that great. I'd almost rather have Lackey, but I'm still going to take the Endless Detour. It's pretty close. We don't have like any interactions, so Detour is probably the best. But yeah, your opponent, if it's something really good, your opponent can just put it back on top. Echo Inspector, speaking of things that are really good, great blue common that did not get nerfed whatsoever. 4 mana 2/3 flyer, enters the battlefield, you draw a card, discard a card. And if you discard a non-land card, it's going to be a 3/4, which is a really nice body. Deal Gone Bad got a buff here, now it gains you some life. Most Wanted got a buff, now it's 2 additional toughness. A lot of changes there, none of those are really good for our deck though, so we'll take another Chrome Cat. Okay, Botanical Plaza looks pretty sweet for us, help us get this green splash in. I already have double Nuisance, but if I didn't, I would be a little interested in that. It is a good card. But we'll take our Botanical Plaza. So it is interesting. We'll see how these changes affect the format as time goes on, as I draft it a few more times, but I don't think that it's possible for them to make this like a 3-color exclusive format just because of the way the set's designed in the first place. Like, I think it was just a fundamental flaw with the design of the set, or just a fundamental aspect of the design of the set. I don't even think it's necessarily a flaw, where they made it so every 2-color card in the set is in an allied colored faction so that it fits into 2 of the different families. So white-blue fits into white-blue-green for brokers, or white-blue-black for Obscura. So there are white-blue cards in here, but there's no green-blue cards in the set because the only family that has green and blue in it is brokers, because those are enemy colors. So because of that, there's only 5 different 2-color pairs in the set, which means no matter what, everybody's going to be drafting like some 2-color pairs, and it just makes it so simple and so easy to just run the 2-color pair and splash in the third. I don't think it's possible. You'd have to really, really nerf like the 2-color cards to turn this into an exclusively 3-color format like they're wanting. So I don't know, we'll see. There's another Gathering Throng in here. I did get the last one super late, but I do like confirming or just making sure that I'm guaranteed to have at least 2 Throngs. Because maybe somebody else got one late and they're trying to get another one. Although, I mean, if I don't have Throngs in this deck, it's not the biggest deal. If I don't have removal, that is a pretty big deal, so maybe we take Buy Your Silence instead. Yeah. Rafine's Tower is also solid mana fixing. That's an option. I'm gonna get the removal. Exotic pets is pretty great if you have any +1/+1 counters or shield counters. Don't really have a lot. Speakeasy server got a minor buff. Now it gains a life for each creature you control, not each other creature you control. That's a cool one. The mana fixing doesn't work for us here. So yeah, seems like an easy exotic pets. Couple unblockable fish with some counters based on the counters we have on board. Kill shot for removal. Only destroying attackers is a little rough, but still good. We do have double Lagrella. Buy your silence and detour now. Yeah, double Lagrella. Hopefully I don't need removal that badly and I can take some more mana fixing. Take a blue-white fixer here, the Obscura Stormfront. The Rafine Silencer is a sweet, sweet card, but we can't really play it. Got to Make Disappear for the counter spell. That's pretty solid. Kind of like removal. Regular, did it get the nerf? It did get the nerf, so I'm not as interested as I would be usually. Knockout Blow's fine. I feel like Make Disappear is probably the best. It's a pretty cheap counter spell. It's great with Broker's Veteran Backup Agent kind of sacrificial fodder. Really good mana fixing for us, the Broker's Hideout. But we do need more playables. We have 2 lands in this deck, which means we have 18 non-lands, so I need to get 5 more playables out of 10 cards. That's a little rough, a little sketchy. I'm still taking the land, though. Maybe we'll just have too few playables. It'll happen from time to time. Take a Skycrier now. But yeah, especially with how pack 1 went. Very possible. We just run 18 lands and 22 playable cards. If we wheel that Gathering Throng, that solves a lot of the problems here, because that's 2 more playable cards going into the deck instead of just 1. Wow, Orfeo got a buff. Orfeo was already nasty. Now Orfeo is a 3/4, so Orfeo by himself is attacking as a 6/4. Woo! Good lord, that is scary. Make Disappear, Rooftop Nuisance, Broker's Veteran. Dropped Court Official nice and late. That's great for the black decks in the format. 12 creatures, pretty low on creatures. Take another Veteran. Not a great one, but up that creature count. Get us more ways to casualty our Rooftop Nuisances and Make Disappear. Did wheel the Gathering Throng. Come on in. Now we got 2 of those. 3 lands, so we have 22 non-land cards. Looks like we're just barely gonna make it here. Because we've got just a Rakdos deck in our sideboard. Sad. Sad stuff there. Another Quick Draw Dagger is okay. We do have a lot of creatures on the ground for it. I like it better than the Refuse to Yield because it's a 3 mana combat trick for that +1/+1 first strike, but then it just turns into a pretty solid equipment. 1 mana to move around a +1/+1. Pretty good rate from that point on. And we do get to cut a couple cards, probably the Halo Scarabs. Maybe the Chrome Cats. Hello, 17 creatures. Ooh, really late Rooftop Nuisance. Come on in, join the party. What are we changing out here? We got 3 cards to cut. Got 1 dagger, 1 nuisance, 1 creature. Seems fine. I think I'll do 1 Chrome Cat, keep the curve nice and low, centered on 2 mana stuff. Really aggro deck here. This is definitely like a tempo deck, where we just play a ton of cheap creatures. Actually, Backstreet Bruiser seems horrible in this deck. Let's actually put the Chrome Cat back in. Play a ton of cheap creatures and then just keep the board clear with our interaction, our counter spells, and our ways to tap things down, put them back into their library, exile things. Just keep smacking with little 2/2s and 3/2s. We don't have any like large late game win conditions, so it's all about curving out quickly and slapping our opponent while we can. So we have 12 white cards, 12 blue cards, 4 green cards. This is a blue-white source, the Stormfront, so that'll be 6, 7, 8 white sources, and we have 7, 8, 9 blue sources. 3 green, 4 green if I keep the forest in. Blue more important than white? They're both kind of equally important. 2 2-mana blue creatures, 2 2-mana white creatures, a little more white at 3 mana. Blue's a little more involved in our interaction, white's a little more involved in our creatures, and creatures you need to play a little earlier, so I'm going to change to 9 white, 7 blue. Wait, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 9 white, 8 blue. Yeah, that's fine, and then we still have 4 green. I think that's where we want the mana base to be, and I think that's how we want the deck to be, so let's just hop right into gameplay. Alright, here we are on the play. We've got all of our 3 colors. Got 2 drops into a 3 drop. Let's just get things rolling. Our first game of the return to Streets of New Capenna. I think we're playing a Halo Scarab first, just getting more damage out. Opponent is on brokers as well. And an attended socialite will be their first play. Could offer the trade or just drop Lagrella. I think I would rather have Lagrella around to deal with something more important. We'll offer the trade. Drop another Halo Scarab. Well, so far Streets of New Capenna feels identical. Streets of New Capenna was brokers versus brokers all day long, and that is our game 1. The exact mirror match here. So if they Lagrella our Lagrella on their Lagrella, that would be incredible. Nope, Venom Connoisseur, Attended Socialite gets extra power here, Snap Trade for Scarab. Got an Endless Detour for that. And then I can still play the Sky Crier. Or I could play Exotic Pets and Sky Crier. Yeah, this seems fine. They can't make a creature at instant speed off of 1 mana to give Death Touch and kill Lagrella, so I can already get in for this damage. And this way I can still hold up Endless Detour because it is an instant. Riveteer's Decoy, just a 3/1 body. Asks to be blocked if able. More importantly, big enough to block and kill Lagrella. Witness Protection on Lagrella to make our Lagrella a 1/1. That's fine because they don't get their Lagrella back. We'll just not attack with it. Can actually throw the Witness Protection back onto their deck at instant speed, which would be kind of nuts. Make Lagrella a 2/3 out of nowhere. Not right now, though. Because they'll just block Lagrella with the decoy and she would die even if I used the detour. Dapper Shieldmate was a phenomenal draw. Nice aggressive creature here. 4 power during our turn, and it has a shield counter. Rooftop Nuisance, tap down the Shieldmate and they'll draw a card. Don't have to deal with that attacking them this turn. We've got a Celestial Regulator to tap down their Connoisseur now. Feels pretty good. Hit for 4 past the turn. You're just stuck on mana here. They've been missing a lot of land drops, but at least in our deck, there's not a lot of like great 5+ mana cards. They do get a Celebrity Fencer. We can just detour that for lethal here. I mean, they're already dead on board. They block there and take 5, so we'll just send everybody in. Alright. 1-0 to start off the return to Streets of New Capenna. Alright, here we are in game 2. Another great hand mana-wise. Double Lagrella is a little bit awkward, but Lagrella often draws removal from your opponent, so if they blow up our Lagrella, we can play the second copy. Will be pretty nice. Whoa! I got the Spacek lands. Those are absolutely beautiful. That bundle in the store right now. We'll play the blue source first. We got more blue cards. That is beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. I really like how it looks on the battlefield as well, where you just see the bottom, or see the top half and the background of it. Swamp as well. That looks great. Yeah, those are beautiful. Absolutely stunning. I am not going to Lagrella a Gold Hound, so time for a Chrome Cat. Especially not going to Lagrella a Gold Hound when I can outrace it with Skycrier alone. I'll keep a Gathering Thrall. Pick up both of those in the future. I keep thinking this is going to scry me 2 because of Automatic Librarian and Dominaria, but it does not. It scries 1. Significantly worse. Jewel Thief, completely unnerfed, still the second best common in the entire format. Behind the best common, Inspiring Overseer, which weirdly enough, also not nerfed at all. Very, very weird. Yep, that's devastating. Thanks to the mana provided from Jewel Thief as well as Gold Hound, they get to play Jewel Thief and Security Rocks on turn 3. 3/3 and a 5/5. That is horrifying. Do I just Lagrella this 5/5? I probably do. That one did get a buff. It's now a 5/5 instead of a 5/4. Still has that neat ability that let them play it there where they can spend it. They can cast it for only 2 mana if they spend treasures exclusively. Which is what they did. Alright, Cat trades for Jewel Thief. And Agnus the Dragon's Latch. 3/3 haste, they keep getting treasures, that's fine. Love to Lagrella that, but obviously I cannot do that. I'm going to play a Gathering Throng, and that is big enough to block that thing. It's a little less mana efficient than playing Shieldmate, but Shieldmate doesn't block and kill an Agnus. This could be a lot of things. Quick Draw Dagger for the family. For the family it is. But yeah, we're losing half a card there because Gathering Throng comes in 2s. So it's still a good deal for us. We get rid of their combat trick and only lose a pretty insignificant card. I'm just going to scoop them up. They're just flooding out there, I guess. They are over it. No way to get through the second Gathering Throng there. So that'll be 2-0. Alright, here we are in game 3. We do not have the green source for Duelist, but this has still got to be a snap keep. Hideout pulls out the blue, we can cast all of these cards. And if we get the treasure off of Halo Scarab, then we can get the Duelist out. I suppose I also can't cast Nuisance till I draw 1 land, but it can be any land in the deck, and Rooftop Nuisance is castable. Alright. Another blue source here, so no Disciplined Duelist anytime soon, but once these Halo Scarabs start dying, we'll get a treasure token. Get ready to play that card. Citizen's Crowbar. That's kind of nasty. against our scarabs. They can trade the crowbar itself into a scarab if they spend 1 mana, tap, sack the crowbar, destroy an artifact or enchantment, in which case they get to keep the 1/1 around. We do have an Obscura storefront, unfortunately not the broker's one, but that gives us a great play this turn because I don't think I'm nuisancing their citizen. I would rather get this Halo Scarab in the grave to get a treasure. Looks like we're gonna get the Halo Scarab in the grave to get a treasure. Would I rather get a treasure than play a 2/1 right now? I mean, Duelist is a very impressive card. Blue-white does have removal that gets past shield counters, though, so... I don't know, I'm still gonna go for it. I have 10 minutes to complete this match, I think it just said. Thanks, Arena, very cool. Okay, Rafine's Informant, that is bad for me. That card is very, very good. Draw a card, discard a card. Alright, just discards a land though, so just a 2/1 body. Time for our card that is a very, very, very good. The Disciplined Duelist. And I have the 2 mana up for Make Disappear, which they don't even have a blue mana up for, but just in case somehow I'm missing something, we'll have the 2 mana up to pay for Make Disappear, and then we'll play a Scarab again. They want to sack the crowbar to kill a scarab, that's pretty fine. Alright, well, they did have the removal that gets rid of a creature even if it has a shield counter, which is pretty bad for us. Got a few ways to deal with that. Not in hand, but in the future. Gathering Throng, sure. Alright, they're gonna crowbar our cat to death. Gonna crowbar something eventually. Okay, not yet. Send the cat in then. Gather some throngs. Get a treasure. Fairy Vandal. Really good if they play another creature now, because they'll draw another card, the Vandal gets bigger. Yep, they are popping off. And it's a connive card, so the Vandal gets 2 larger. Because Gatherer draws a card and Informant draws a card. Or no, it only triggers on exactly their second card. Okay, so it's actually a Nombo. That actually works poorly for them. So we're happy about that. Okay, we've got Exotic Pets, which will come out with a shield counter. I can afford to cast that and my Gathering Throng. Everybody attacking here trades into something, and all of their creatures are somewhat valuable. Send in the squad. Oh, wait, no. Don't send in the Skycrier. Maybe I will trick them into thinking I have a trick. I did not trick them into thinking I have a trick. Yeah, obviously we're not supposed to attack with Skycrier there, but the rest of the combat was fine. Play Throng past the turn. Shuffle the deck. Another Fairy Vandal. Things are looking really bad for us. Well, on the plus side, by letting Skycrier... Oh my god. Yep, this just feels like Street's new Capenna. Unnerved Conspiring Overseer. In the business. This is just the blue-white Flyers Fairy Vandal deck. Rafine's Informant, Backup Ancient, Inspiring Overseer, Fairy Vandal, and none of them got changed whatsoever. So kind of the only thing this deck loses is the... not the Inspiring Overseer, the Celestial Regulator? Like, yeah, I don't know. It feels weird. The things that they said they wanted to change about the format do not feel changed. lock down a Fairy Vandal, the big one. Echo Inspector also completely unchanged. And does phenomenal work in the Fairy Vandal deck. Alright, at this point we're going to give up on drawing our endless detour to save the Disciple Duelists or any of the other stuff like that. Land. Well, we're dying slowly, but we are dying. Hold for Ransom also completely unchanged. Majestic Metamorphosis also completely unchanged. Our opponent was like, let's just draft Streets of New Capenna and draft all of the best cards that were completely unnerfed. Which is wild, because a lot of these cards are just the best cards, period. Especially Inspiring Overseer. Alright. Feels like Streets of New Capenna so far. But, maybe the biggest thing that they did wasn't thinking less on about nerfing cards and more on like what they buffed, like buffing Orfeo, buffing a lot of the green and red cards. Maybe I'm thinking of it from the wrong angle, and it's not that the just two-color blue-white or green-white decks are supposed to stop being incredible, and more that the other decks are supposed to try to come up to that level, is how they were going for it. And we just haven't seen any of the other decks yet, really, to see if they got any better. But yeah, so far a little disappointed in the changes. They feel relatively meaningless, but we're not even a full draft in, so we can't have a full opinion right now. At least not an educated one. But that last game felt pretty bad. Felt like the devastating things that would happen in Streets of New Capenna every time. I get a Disciplined Duelist out with 2 shield counters on it. Let's go. I mean, if they take the trade, I doubt they do. This will be interesting to see. They gave red and black more ways to deal with shield counters. They made the deal gone bad a little better. It gains you life now. And that does -3/-3, so that can kill the duelist. And they made the 5 mana red sorcery removal also prevent damage for the turn, which gets around shield counters. So here we go, our first Riveteers deck. We'll see if they can keep up. Would be cool to see. I think I'm going to be playing a Chrome Cat here, trying to hit a land. Seems like a solid way to go. Take it all, take 6 damage, alright. Here's the Chrome Cat. It is going to hit a land, we'll keep it. Use their Masked Bandits, so they have a Trio mount now. Nightclubber, that is phenomenal. Blitzed, so they draw a card off of it. It's gonna die anyway, so I'll keep my shield counter. This Body Dropper is gonna be a 3/3 as well. Very good turn for our opponent. Don't have the mana to hold up a Make Disappear and cast anything right now, so I kind of want to Echo Inspector. Try to get to a spot where I have 5 mana to cast a creature and hold up Make Disappear, ideally. Well, in order to have that 5 mana, I have to discard a By Your Silence. Feels not worth it, but that does make Inspector bigger. You know what? We'll discard By Your Silence. Just trying to close out this game as quickly as possible. Hold up the interaction. Alright, Girdergoons, that is A-okay. That is annoying for my Chrome Cat. It's very cool with my Echo Inspector, but now Chrome Cat doesn't get in because the Body Dropper's a 4/4. Drew a backup agent. Now I really wish I had discarded the land, because then I could play backup agent and hold up Make Disappear, which is pretty great. But Regulator Disappear is the better play here, so actually works out pretty solid. They are dead in the sky next turn on board, and if I can keep Echo Inspector down, then... Ooh, okay, now I need to keep both of my flyers out to kill them next turn. I need to use Backup Agent to get that last damage. But yeah, I was going to say, if I can keep Echo Inspector on board, I can kill them with just one flying attacker next turn. Girdergoons does not save them for my lethal next turn, so we just let it resolve. And then just play our Backup Agent. And get in for 3. I mean, this is a sweet Rakdos deck. It's a sweet Riveteer's Blitz deck. But it just doesn't feel like it can really keep up with the Disciplined Duelist at the start there from the Broker's strategy. Which again, just feels like regular Streets of New Capenna Premier Draft so far. Heading into round 5 now. Alright, here we are on the play. This would be the riskiest keep that I've kept so far. I need a blue source very badly. And I need a 3rd land drop. If I get a 3rd land drop, I have Chrome Cat to scry into it. I mean, we're 3-1 now, worst case scenario, we're at 3 wins. It's not disastrous to end a draft 3-3 off a greedy keep. Ooh. It's 3 mana, everything is 3 mana. I hit 1 island and I'm golden. Maximum greed. It'll all work out perfectly. Just gonna top deck an island turn 3. Alright, turn 2 we get a Halo Scarab, which is actually helpful. Gives us something to play on turn 2, and if it ends up in the graveyard, gives us a treasure token if we don't hit a green source. Or sorry, if we don't hit a land. We already have the green source from Plaza, and we did hit a land, which means we're golden. Absolutely perfect. Never didn't have it. Chrome Cat now sets up our draws. Rooftop Nuisance? Sure. I'm cool with just playing 1 spell per turn for the rest of this game. Because all my spells are pretty impactful, and Origo Streetwise Mentor is the play from our opponents. I think I'm going to tap that down for now, but Lagrella also to get rid of it is pretty solid. Yeah, we'll go for Lagrella, because this is our only way to get that off the board that also puts more power on the board. To keep our aggressive momentum up. Try to keep expanding our board while we remove theirs. Uh-oh. Well, I've got a Mech Disappear to hold up here, so I will do that. If I don't need to cast it, I have Exotic Pets or Endless Detour, and I will happily cast it. Happily cast it on that. That would have been really bad if that resolved. They're down to 6. We pass the turn. But yeah, if that resolved, Lagrella dies, Rigo comes back, and Rigo trades a shield counter for our Chrome Cat. That would have been devastating. Obscura Initiate. They have 1 blocker and 1 mana up. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have exact lethal if we just get that out of the way. So I'll Rooftop Nuisance it. And that should be game. Can't think of a 1 mana thing that stops it. Completely forgot about the update. I guess I have to update Arena now. They have disabled matchmaking if you are not updated. So 4 and 2? 4 and 1. It is for the return to Streets of New Capenna. Turns out Brokers is still pretty good. Before I reboot Arena, we'll do another quick look at the deck real quick before I head into the next round. But the main thing is just the Brokers uncommons are still just disgusting. Lagrella and Disciplined Duelist just have won both of our games. Or have won multiple of our games, not both. We've won 4 games so far. Those are still absolutely disgusting. Rafine's Informant, Angelic Overseer and stuff, or Inspiring Overseer and stuff, are also just completely unchanged, unnerfed. But we didn't actually get any of those in here, but Brokers was so good you could play decks without those top commons and still have a pretty great deck like this one, so yeah, Brokers still feels great. We'll see what happens, see if we can keep this up as we head into Game 6. Alright, well, unfortunately that is going to have to end the draft for today, as with a lot of the updates, the update has just locked my account off of Arena for about a half hour now, and that is pretty much eaten into my entire recording time that I've set aside for today. So I've got places to be, I've got stuff to do, so we're going to have to end the draft there for today. But no matter what, that was at least a 4-3 draft, so a solid draft no matter what. I don't have any major takeaways about the rebalances for the Streets of New Capenna set so far. I think the biggest takeaway that I have is to think of this rebalance less as them nerfing Brokers. I think Brokers is still probably the strongest strategy, as cards like Disciplined Duelist, Lagrella the Magpie at Uncommon are completely unchanged, and then at Common, some of the best commons in the entire format, Inspiring Overseer in white, which is in Brokers, Jewel Thief in green, which is in Brokers, and Echo Inspector in blue, which is in Brokers, are also completely unchanged. So try to think it less as Brokers getting nerfed, and more about like Riveteers, like green and red in particular, getting some more new tools, getting some stronger abilities there. That feels like the biggest change in the format. They're just trying to up the power of those weaker archetypes, not necessarily completely nerf the really strong archetype here, although they did nerf the 2-color Brokers cards, the 2-color Brokers commons, the 3-mana 2/3 flyer enters the battlefield and taps something down. That one's now a 1/4, which is significantly worse for aggressive strategies, and the Civil Servant, the green-white common that taps to get +1/+0 and lifelink. Now it taps to get +1/+0 and trample, which is significantly worse at racing. So they did nerf a couple Brokers cards, but I don't think enough to knock Brokers off the top. Well, that's everything about my thoughts on the format for today. That's it for the draft for today. Again, at least a 4-3 solid run no matter what, and probably could have gotten another win or two there maybe. Get into the 5-win territory. That would have been pretty sweet, but who knows? I will be back again tomorrow for hopefully an entire draft of Streets of New Capenna. If Arena does not bug out on me again, I will reboot this one more time, but if you are watching this right now, that means that rebooting did not get me in past the rotating square of waiting for the server. So, all right, yeah, it looks like I'm not getting in. Yeah, thank you all very much for watching. Sorry it couldn't be the entire draft today, but if you do want to see more of these videos, especially some more rebalanced Streets of New Capenna drafts, we'll have more on the horizon in the coming days. I do these videos pretty much daily, and if you want to see more, just like, comment, and subscribe to let the YouTube algorithm send some more of these videos to you in your recommended feeds. As always, once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon for some more Magic Arena.